Okay. Oh. Hi, Leonardo. How are you today?
Hi, Christy. How you doing? Thank you for the invitation again.
No, no, no. We're inviting each other, so no need to thank me. I'm thanking you. You're thanking me. And we want to explain we are doing a good job committing to you or someone on your team with me doing lunch and learn every day. This is our third day.
Yep.
Okay. But lunch was a little later today because it's Friday, right? It's got a little late start. Okay. So, Leonardo, what's the topic that you want to go over today?
Well, listen, I want to talk what's going on about what's going on in the stock market. And actually, I have a customer that is so concerned. He called me earlier, and well, yesterday we were talking yesterday and earlier about the same situation. He's concerned. 10 years in the same company. He has accumulated 401k. So he asked me, "What should I do? What do you think that is the best shot for me?
How
What
old
do you
is
think
he?
about that?"
How
He
old is he?
he's almost 50.
Okay.
He's
Good.
almost
Okay.
50. And
Yep.
he said that's going to stay more time in that
How
company.
much
They
does he
love
have
it.
in the market right now?
How much?
Yeah.
I see that it's close to
Okay.
70,000. Yeah.
All right. So here's the deal. And first of all, you and I are not financial advisors, and thank God I do not want to get a Series 6 license. I also want to say very clearly my opinion that a lot of people who are called financial advisors are not doing the best job by their clients. I'm not pointing out anyone in particular because a lot of them do have no experience with life insurance or annuities. In fact, they have a negative impression, and all they know is the stock market, 401k, or bonds, or real estate, or Bitcoin, or gold. Okay, those are all perfectly fine investment alternatives that people do, but we have been miseducated and we are ignorant of a number of tools and strategies using life insurance and annuities, which are a kind of guaranteed contract with life insurance companies. And these are strategies that protect what you have, grow it safely, and often allow you to either avoid taxes legally or defer them. Okay, but because there's so much misunderstanding and ignorance, and a lot of it is because people that are called financial advisors are incented to sell their products. They get a management fee. They
Right.
get a
But let
percent.
me ask you this.
Yes.
Actually, the customer mentioned that annuities, they are afraid of annuities. There's a misconception, as you said, about annuities and bad reputation. What could you tell us about that?
Yeah, so that's exactly my point. Thank you for saying that. A lot of times people are reading stuff from the past, your grandmother's annuity is very different than annuities now, or there are people who make money by getting a percentage of their success on the stock market selling stock. So, and maybe it's not deliberate, but they do not have an incentive to learn about, or they don't think they do, because they actually could do a lot better for their clients and get incentive, receive commissions, not from their clients, but from the life insurance companies as commissions, which do not affect the client's portfolio or their returns. But starting with annuities. So for example, your client right now has his money in the stock market.
Yes.
And unfortunately, when the stock market goes down 20%, coming back 20% is not going to fix it. The stock market actually has to come back, I believe,
Oh,
30 or 40. You can check Google, but it's a lot more. And it's kind of like a downward spiral. And so when you're in your 50s, it's very important that you protect your money from loss if at all possible, while also growing it when the market is up. So this might seem impossible. Well, how can I protect my money? Because my money in my 401k, if the market goes up, I get the upside. If it goes down, I have to, I also lose value, right? My
right.
money, and some people have lost their entire 401ks. So there is a way, and you mentioned annuities. Annuities are a contract in which the client gives a certain amount of money to the life insurance company to manage and grow for them. And then when they take it out, just like a 401k, it's tax deferred. It is pre-tax money that goes in there. It's tax deferred. Now, this is if it's a qualified retirement account. But with annuities, when the stock market goes up, you get the upside up to a certain point. It's oftentimes capped at 10% or 12%. And you might say, well, Kirsten, but I'm already not interested in annuities because with the stock market, I can go up 40%. But yes, but Leonardo, you can lose 40% too. Okay,
Right.
with an annuity, it is a guaranteed contract so that when the stock market goes down, your principal stays at zero. And we say zero is your hero. Or a lot of times nowadays, the annuities companies give you a 2% guarantee minimum. So even when things are bad, negative, your principal is growing at 2%. And there are so many now these days, so many amazing kinds of annuities, but the ones I focus on and I sell exclusively to my clients, which I recommend to your client, is that kind of annuity that I mentioned. When the market goes up, your value goes up, and that's called a fixed indexed annuity. That means your credited interest is tied to a group of stocks. For example, the S&P 500, the Barclays. It's a group of stocks that are put together, and as they rise or fall, your portfolio, your annuity either goes up or it stays the same. And during the time it's growing, it is tax-free. Okay. And in addition, a lot of these annuities have benefits with them these days. For example, living benefit. In the old days, when the annuity was over, the contract was over, the money was gone, because in the old days, annuities were for guaranteed lifetime income. So what would happen? Leonardo, you would put $100,000 into an annuity, and when the day came that you annuitized it, the company would agree to give you a certain amount every month for the rest of your life. So if you died at 80, be done at 80. If you die at 120, they would pay to 120. And this is a guarantee. Yes?
But let me ask you this. What happened if a customer decide not to annuitize the money?
Yes, we're getting to that next. Thank you. I'm talking about the old style, the original style.
Right.
Oh, and if you decided not to annuitize, that's a good point. The longer the person waited to annuitize, meaning turn on the annuity, the more money they would get each month. Why? Because less time probably to your death, right?
You
Nowadays,
mentioned that it's without the possibility to lose the money, right? There's a floor
without
with
the possibility of losing your money. Now, having said that, the disadvantage to having lifetime income is at that time, if you passed away, whatever, and you passed away younger, the money you put in there would be lost. Okay. And there are other issues. So nowadays, there are quite a few companies that don't even have guaranteed lifetime income. They simply grow your money as much as you want to grow it. And when you want to, you take out. Now, there are tax laws. When you are a certain age, and I believe it's 72, I'm having a brain freeze right now. Is it 70 or 72? You have 72 required minimum distributions if you have a 401k. An annuity is similar. You can't just leave all your money grow and never pay taxes on it. So the federal government is going to want you to take out a certain minimum. And if you have an annuity before you're 59 and a half, you are not allowed to take the money out until you are 59 and a half, just like a 401k.
Yep. Yep.
Otherwise, you pay a 10% penalty. But let's pretend your client is 59 and a half. Okay.
Mhm.
And let's pretend that he does not want to annuitize his money.
Okay.
He's allowed in that case to take up to 7% or 10% of the principal, depending on the company, with no annuitization, no penalty. So there's a lot of flexibility. Okay. But also the other thing is a lot of these, we have some companies, Leonardo, that if you have $100,000 in your annuity and you get a critical, chronic, or terminal illness, you get they'll let you, or you need long-term care. Okay, let's say you need long-term care.
We call it a perk. That is a perk that is right now in those
Yes.
policies. You say that?
Yeah. So in other words, they'll double your principal. So if you have $100,000 in your annuity, they'll let you take out 200,000 for long-term care. Okay, so there are a lot of extra perks, like you said, and benefits and bonuses built into different annuities. And you and I, we work with so many different annuities companies. We have annuities where people can take out the money right away, in which case the interest is lower. Or we have annuities where you have to wait 10 years to take the money out, except during that 10 years, you are allowed to take out up to 10% or up to 7% If you take out more than that within the first 10 years, you pay a penalty. Why? Because they want you to keep your money in there long enough that they can grow
Oh,
everyone's money. Okay, but here's the thing. If you take out your money from a 401k, you have to pay taxes on it usually, right? Well, guess
yes.
what,
Yeah.
Leonardo? There is a thing called a 1035 exchange. So if your friend decides, which I agree with him, right now is not the right time to have your money in the stock market directly, he can transfer his entire 401k amount into a fixed indexed annuity with no tax penalty, doing a 1035 exchange. Okay,
So,
now,
Kirkley, let me ask you this. People that are listening to us right now
yes,
are that concerned. There's a lot too much information. Every single day,
yes,
you change. Boom, boom, boom. What they should do right now? What is
yes. First,
the next step, the call to action? What is that?
yes, first of all, they should call you or me or someone who has a good knowledge of these products, the fixed indexed annuities, and we're going to look at their needs. We're going to look at their age. We're going to look at how much money they have, and we're going to look at all the companies we work with, and we're going to come back to them with the best 2 or 3 possibilities based on those criteria. And then we're going to enable them to do a transfer from their 401k company to the annuity company. They don't touch the money. If they touch the money, it gets taxed. It's a direct transfer, doing a 1035 exchange, and immediately, Leonardo, no more loss, no more risk. Their money is completely guaranteed. It continues to grow tax-free. As the money goes as the market goes up, so are the money. And guess what, Leonardo? Just to give you a concrete example for people who are saying, oh, I don't think the increase is going to be enough, because they are capped. I have a client that only has 7 years to retirement and they have no retirement savings yet. They have $1 million worth of property in another country and they usually sell it to their relative when they need money. So they said to me, Kirsten, if I need $1 million when I retire in 7 years, how much money do I need to put into an annuity to get $1 million in 7 years? And I thought, wow, that is a good question. And guess what I found out, Leonardo?
What was that?
Just $500,000 into an annuity, the likelihood that his money will double and be $1 million in just 7 years is very high based on the historic results over the last 10 and 20 years of these annuity providers we work with. Now, Leonardo, these are the
So
oldest.
you told me that $500,000 will become in 7 years a million.
Yes,
It's on the behavior of those indices in the last 20 years, right?
exactly. And you know what, Leonardo, these companies, just like the life insurance companies we work with, a lot of these companies do life insurance and annuities. Some are just annuities. They have 100 years or more of experience and they have a track record. And so unlike an IUL, which has cost of insurance that keeps going up, you don't have to have any health qualification. Your health doesn't matter because you're giving them money and they're managing it. And so pretty much the indexes and the projections track. So in other words, there's no promises, there are no guarantees of future upside, but based on what our clients have been doing with these companies over the last 10 or 20 years, there's a really good chance they can double their money in 7 to 10 years. And if you have longer, because your friend here is only 50, if he can wait till 65 or 70, he can have a very nice nest egg, safely protected, safely growing with no downside risk and tax deferred.
Oh my God. That sounds like an extraordinary way to be peace of mind in this turmoil that we have in our country right now. Do you agree?
Absolutely. And you know what, Leonardo, one more thing. Now, we do have financial requirements. We're required, we have a fiduciary responsibility. So we are not able to give annuities to someone unless they can handle their living expenses. Without that money, they're in a relatively good financial shape. If someone has already purchased annuity in the last 5 years or so, we cannot swap them from one to another, even if we have like a better one, because the surrender charges, the penalties for them switching may be too high. So we have a very high standard that we're not going to, in other words, we are not going to put our clients into anything unless it's better, unless it's going to make their situation better. But guess what? It takes 15 to 20 minutes, Leonardo, to do an application. So somebody who wants their money out of the market like tomorrow, the next few, not tomorrow, it's Saturday, but by next week, they can still do that.
Excellent, excellent. That sounds excellent plan. Kirsten, I appreciate your time and your knowledge here in this matter. People, I would say that it's going to be a little more comfy what need to do, and probably they're going to call you right now.
Now, I have another question for you before we go, Leonardo.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this in Spanish. I want to make one more point. It doesn't just have to be a 401k. Do you have friends? Maybe they have cash laying aside, they're afraid to do something with it, or
Sure.
maybe they don't really have any retirement plan at all, or they're self-employed.
Yeah, it's covered.
Annuities can be for everyone. They don't have to be, they can be, by the way, also Roth IRAs. I forgot to mention that. I need to say that. Roth IRAs up to 8,000 a year for someone over 50 can be put in with post-tax money and tax-free forever when they take it out. That Roth IRA can also be put into a fixed indexed annuity. So it doesn't matter what a person's retirement is, IRA, SEP IRA, simple, Roth IRA, unqualified. Now, it doesn't matter. If they have money they want to grow for their retirement, we can put them into a fixed indexed annuity.
Wow, this is awesome. That's awesome. Well,
All
Kirsten,
right.
appreciate that. Appreciate your
Thank you.
time, and thank you for the
Yep.
opportunity, okay?
Thank you. And you know what? I'll see you on the other side in Spanish.
See you later.
Okay.